Okay, take out your grammar books first, 6th grade, and go to page 19. Page 19. You guys having a good day so far? Not really. Why? Why are we sad? Too much homework?
Yeah.
What do you have homework in? Math? Do you have a lot of homework in math? How much you have to do? 18 problems. That's going to take you at least 18 minutes. That's a lot of homework. Yes, sir. Huh? Okay. Josiah, go with him, please. All right, guys, page number 19 is where we are. We're going to get started. Hopefully, you guys end having a great day. We want every day to be great. Okay, don't sweat over the small stuff. Life is so much better than worrying about math homework. You'll get it done. It'll be great. Okay, so think on the positive things. There's going to be bigger challenges ahead in your life than math homework. These are the days that I wish I could go back to because you guys really have little worries. Everything is taken care of for you. So enjoy these times. Enjoy being in 6th grade. Enjoy friendships and coming to school every day. Enjoy these times because they will be some of the best times of your life, okay? When you have homework or you have a test or quiz, study, work hard, but don't over-stress over things that you don't need to stress over, okay? All right, is everyone ready? Open your books to page number 19. Yes, sir. When we get to spelling, possibly. Let's see how we get a hold of our language. Let's be careful, Cameron, and sit still, and then you won't hurt yourself, okay? All right, page number 19. Go ahead and put that board away, Emmeline, for me. In the top of the box there, in the blue box, it says another serious sentence error to avoid is the what? Say it louder. Run-on. Thank you, Ariel. The run-on sentence. Without even looking at this blue box, who can tell me what a run-on is? What is a run-on sentence? Gavin? Say it again. Good. 2 sentences that are joined incorrectly. Excuse me. Gianni, if you're just joining us and you did not hear, or Tristan, you did not hear those page numbers, we are on page number 19 in your language book. Page 19. We're talking about the run-on sentence today. Ariel and Gavin, come get your tickets. Thank you for answering my questions. Like the fragment, it usually occurs in the rough draft when the writer is hurrying to put his thoughts on paper, but it can be easily spotted and corrected during the rewriting and polishing steps. Okay? A run-on sentence is 2 or more simple sentences written incorrectly as one sentence. We've been talking about this in the 4th grade class the last few days. We've been talking about run-on sentences and how they're joined incorrectly. You guys learned about what a compound sentence is. A compound sentence is the opposite of a run-on sentence. A compound sentence is 2 simple sentences that are joined correctly, whereas a run-on sentence is 2 simple sentences that are joined incorrectly, okay? We talked about a compound sentence and how there are only a few ways to join a sentence correctly. Who can remember what those ways are? I'm going to go ahead and erase this. Hopefully you guys didn't need that any longer. Gavin, give me one. A semicolon, okay? That is one way that we can join 2 sentences correctly. A semicolon is stronger than a comma. Okay, so it can stand alone. It does not need any conjunction or anything. It just can be by itself. Okay, what's another way to join 2 sentences? Yes, ma'am. A comma and a conjunction. Those are the only 2 ways that we can join 2 sentences correctly. Okay, so when you're trying to figure out, when you have a section on your test or quiz, 6th grade, And they want you to write compound or simple, just like we did in our assignment yesterday. Okay, how do we figure that out? Well, easy peasy, we're going to look for these two things. If it has a semicolon and then there's a subject verb on this side and a subject verb on this side, we have a compound sentence. If we have a comma followed by a conjunction and we have a subject verb on this side and a subject verb on this side, then we have a compound sentence. If we do not have either of these in a sentence, we don't have a compound sentence. Okay? So if you don't see these, then you'll know it's simple. Now here is where some of our students get confused. This is where some of them get mixed up a little bit, is when they see conjunctions in a sentence. The farmer and his daughter washed the car and swam in the lake. Okay? They see those words and it looks like a longer sentence, so they go, oh, that must be compound. Okay? Remember that a conjunction does not join a compound sentence. It has to be a comma and a conjunction, and it has to have subject verb on this side, subject verb on this side. Sometimes you'll have subject verb and the word and another verb. Okay, that means we have two verbs, but it does not mean we have a compound sentence. Okay, thank you. So when you're looking for run-ons, we're going to take what we learned about compounds and we're going to apply that knowledge to know whether or not we have a run-on or not. Okay, if we have two sentences put together and they don't have this or this, it's a run-on. It was joined incorrectly. Okay, so let's look in the blue box here. It says you must, underline that. You must use both a comma and a conjunction. Go ahead and underline that in that blue box there. It's under those blue words. It says a run-on sentence is two or more simple sentences written incorrectly as one sentence. The very next sentence says you must use both a comma and a conjunction to join simple sentences together. Underline it or highlight it. You need to know that. You must use both a comma and a conjunction to join simple sentences together. Shane and Cameron, I'm not going to look back and get distracted by you two again. If you do not have a comma and a conjunction or a semicolon, you have a run-on sentence. You can correct a run-on sentence by adding a comma and a conjunction, by adding a semicolon, or by changing it into two different sentences. Okay? Look at their examples here. Let's look at the first run-on sample. Cameron, I'm going to have you read it for us, please. That first run-on sample sentence. Okay, is this correct? Is this a correct compound sentence, yes or no? No, because we don't have a comma and a conjunction or a semicolon. They try to join these sentences by just placing a comma, and that is incorrect. Now you'll notice how they corrected it. Stars twinkle at night, comma, but planets do not. Now we have a correct compound sentence. The other way they joined it, stars twinkle at night, semicolon, planets do not. That is also correct. And the third way that you can correct it is stars twinkle at night, period, capital P, planets do not. Now that, when we correct it that way, we're not making a compound sentence out of it. We're making two simple sentences. And sometimes those can get a little bit choppy. So if you can join it and make it a flowing sentence, that is your sentence. Shane, read it for us, please. The sun set majestically, then the moon rose. This is a common error. Everyone circle that word then in that sentence. This is a common mistake that I see every time I grade a research paper or a book report. I see this mistake often. Students, people like to say, and then. When you're talking and you're telling a story, how many of you would say, I'm guilty of saying, and then, and then, and then? Okay? And that's okay. Sometimes we speak in ways that is really not grammatically correct. Okay? So if you're telling a story, I went up to the mountain, and then I saw a bear, and then it was coming at me, and I was so scared, and then I ran. Okay? So we're using these words and then, and then, and then. But this is very easy to mistake and write incorrectly by using these types of joining words. So we want to be very careful to not use those types of words. Okay? Another type word is so. So then we did this. So then we did that. So make sure you're careful with those kinds of joining words. Then they show you how they corrected it. The sun set majestically, and then the moon rose. Or, the sun set majestically, semicolon, then the moon rose. Okay? Be careful with those joining words. All right. And by the way, when I say joining words, they're not really joining words, but we use them to join our sentences together when we're speaking, and they're incorrect. We don't want to write with those joining words. The only joining words we need to write with are the commas and the conjunctions. Those are our grammatically correct joining words. All right, let's look at this think down below. Read the instructions for me, Ariel, please. Good. Think about the following run-on sentences. Would you correct them with a comma and a conjunction, a semicolon, or periods and a capital letters? Sometimes it just sounds better or looks better to do these different styles, okay? So we're going to look at these sentences and try to figure out what would we do to correct them. Of the 3 ways to correct a run-on, the answers that I'm going to give you are probably the ones that are best. There's never a wrong answer if you're doing it one of those 3 ways, semicolon, comma, conjunction, or just putting a period in a capital letter. But sometimes there is a better way to do it where it flows better, you avoid choppiness. So let's look at number 1. Let's read the sentence together, class. Ready, begin. Mr. Parker enjoyed the concert. He wished his seat had been near the front. How would you fix this run-on? Olive, what would you do? Excellent. That's exactly what I have in the book. That's the best answer. We would enter a comma and the conjunction but. Because here it's saying, be mature, please. Mr. Parker enjoyed the concert, but he wished his seat had been near the front. See, the first part is talking about how he really enjoyed it. The second part is saying the one part that he wished was better. So the only conjunction that really fits is that one but. Okay? So good job, Olive. Number 2. Let's read this sentence together, class. Ready, begin. I expected the examination to be challenging. It was. How would you correct this sentence? Ariel, what do you think? Yeah, 100%. That's exactly what we have in our book. That's the best answer. I expected the examination to be challenging. Period. It was. You could also put a comma in the word and it was. But it sounds good the way it is with a period, just making that 2 separate sentences. Yes, Cameron? You're going to do your little insert below, right? And then whatever you're inserting, whether you're doing your period, you'd put that there and then your 3 lines. Okay, if you're doing your and, conjunction and, then you would just do your insert and the word and below it. Well, number 2, we said that it was best to put a period in a capital letter. If you chose to, you could put a comma and the word and instead of the period in the capital letter. But the best choice is I expected the examination to be challenging. Period. It was. So you need to put a period after challenging, and you need to put 3 lines under the letter I to make it a capital letter I. Okay, does everyone understand what we're doing? Okay, let's look at sentence 3 and let's read this together. Ready, begin. My library book was overdue. I had forgotten to renew it. Okay, Landon, what do you think we would do to correct this sentence? My library book was overdue. I had forgotten to renew it. Do commas ever join sentences correctly? The only, Landon, look at me. The only way we can join two sentences correctly is with a semicolon, a comma, and a conjunction, or we just put a period and make the next one a capital letter. That's your only three choices of correcting this.
Overdue by the period.
Okay, so put a period after overdue and capitalize the word I. You can totally do that. Does anyone else have something else they did? Liviana, what did you do? Okay, you can put a semicolon. The book here says my library book was overdue, for I had forgotten to renew it. They went adding the comma and conjunction route and did comma and the word for. But all of those three ways are fine for this sentence. They are all fine. My library book was overdue, period. I had forgotten to renew it. Or my library book was overdue, semicolon. I had forgotten to renew it. Or you could have done what I did and entered the comma and the conjunction for. Those are your three options. Okay? Number 4. Let's read this sentence together, class. Ready, begin. Dad traded in our car. We needed a more dependable one. Adam, how would you correct this sentence? Okay, so you could insert a period after car and capitalize the word we and just make that two separate sentences. Dad traded in our car. We needed a more dependable one. Okay? Shane, what did you do? Okay, so Dad traded in our car and we needed a more dependable one. I think I probably would have once again used that conjunction for. Dad traded in our car for we needed a more dependable one. Okay, that word for is kind of the same idea as because we needed a more dependable one. So comma, the word for. You could do a semicolon. Just make sure you're correcting it one of those three ways. And then number 5. Josiah, read it for us, please. He gobbled up the hamburger. It was the first meal that he had eaten all day. Yes, ma'am. How would you correct it? Comma and? Comma for. Yeah, you could do that. He gobbled up the hamburger, for it was the first meal that he had eaten all day. Okay, that's a good answer. You could have also ended it with a period and a capital letter, or you could have done a semicolon. Any of those would be fine. If you're going to put your conjunction in there, though, the one Ariel chose for makes the most sense. Look at the box in the yellow there, the look closely. Let's read this together, class. Ready, begin. Sentences which are joined by a comma and a conjunction or a semicolon must be sensibly related in meaning. Otherwise, leave them as separate sentences, okay? So if they are kind of talking about the same thing, then you can join them with a semicolon or a comma and conjunction. If the two sentences are talking about two different things, then that's when you would want to use your period and your capital letter and just have two separate sentences. All right, flip your pages over. Let's go to page 20. We're going to talk more about sentences or run-ons. Landon, I want you to read this blue box for us, please, nice and loud.
Is this a run-on sentence? When we were studying astronomy, we visited a planetarium.
Okay, so is that a run-on sentence? When we were studying astronomy, we visited a planetarium. Run-on or no? No. Okay, the answer is down below. No. The comma is helping to join a fragment to a sentence. Look at that first part before the comma. When we were studying astronomy. Okay, now we have a subject and verb in that sentence part. Everyone make sure your eyes are on this book. When we were studying astronomy, it has a subject and verb. What are my subjects and verbs in this part of the sentence? What's my verb? Shane?
We're studying.
Very good. Who or what were studying? So could we say that that's a sentence? When we were studying astronomy? Has a subject and verb? Is it a sentence? No. Why, Olive? when we were studying astronomy. Do you remember all of what went in this blank? The 5 things that we look for when we have a complete sentence. It has a subject, 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 and a verb, verb, verb. It makes sense with every word, word, word. It must make complete sense. Okay, that's one of the first things that you guys learn about a sentence. It's not a sentence if it does not make complete sense. Now, let's look at this part of this sentence again, okay? When we were studying astronomy, does that make complete sense? Yes or no? No. It leaves us hanging, right? If I just look at that one little part, when we were studying astronomy, I mean, if I came in here and out of the blue, because remember, we're just looking at that one part because there's a comma there. So if I came in here, Tony, and just said, Tony, when we were studying astronomy, and then I just walked away, would you think I was a little bit crazy? Yeah. You'd be like, Mrs. Rule, what happened when you were studying astronomy? I need to know. Tell me. I need to know. Okay, because it just kind of left you hanging. I don't know what's going on. It doesn't make complete sense. Okay, so you have to be careful with these because these ones are real tricky. They look like they could be a complete sentence because we found that it had a subject and a verb, but it did not make complete sense. A lot of these sentences, when they start with words like when or while, since, those words are going to lead into a fragment, okay? The second part of that sentence is going to answer that question, okay? So it says, when we were studying astronomy, we visited a planetarium, okay? So there, that comma is okay because that comma is not separating two sentences. It's joining a fragment to the rest of its sentence, okay? In fact, words such as, do you see these blue words in the box? Go ahead and underline them. Although, because, if, since, unless, and when are very useful in combining ideas. These words help the writer show the specific relationship between ideas in a way that compound subjects and verbs and sentences cannot. Look at the next sentences below that. Landon?
Can I get my highlighter?
Where is it?
So I can.
Just underline it with your pencil. Okay? Look at those next sentences there. It says, I may go to the game, I finished my homework. I may go to the game, I finished my homework. How are these ideas related? It says, here are some possibilities. Do you see the changes in meaning? I may go to the game because I finished my homework. Do you guys see how they're related now? Okay? Now look at the next one. Since I finished my homework, I may go to the game. I may go to the game if I finish my homework. I may not go to the game unless I finish my homework. So you'll see how these words, although, because, if, since, unless, when, they can join these thoughts and these ideas. They can join a fragment with the rest of the sentence, and now they go together. Now they make sense, okay? So let's practice this a little bit. Right A says, combine the following ideas in one sentence by using although, because, if, since, or unless. Okay, let's look at number 1. Read me the 2 sentences, Emmeline.
I work out every day. I may pass the
Physical.
physical fitness test.
Excellent job. Excellent reading. Do you work out every day? Good. I try to, but I don't always get around to it. I work out every day. I may pass the physical fitness test. How can we combine these using these words, although, because, if, since, or unless? How can we combine these and make these thoughts go together? Tony, what do you think? I work out every day since I may pass the physical fitness test. Because I may pass the physical fitness test. Well, you're going to pass the physical fitness test. That's coming probably after you're working out every day, right? The idea here is that you work out every day so that you can pass this test, right? So how could we use one of these words, although, because, if, since, or unless, to tell that? The word's probably going to come at the beginning of the sentence. Very good. So read it to me now. Good. So write that on your line. That's 100%. If I work out every day, comma, I may pass the physical fitness test. If I work out every day, I may pass the physical fitness test. Okay. You guys have that written in your books? Now, do you see how we combine those two thoughts? Now, once again, I want you to look at this. This is not two separate sentences, because if it was, this would be incorrect. This word right here, if, makes this a fragment. And it's okay to join a fragment to the rest of the sentence by using a comma. Okay, do you guys understand the difference here? Okay, so that word, if, makes this part a fragment. This is not a complete sentence. If this was a complete sentence, we would have to have a conjunction here or a semicolon. But if I work out every day, if I just walked in and said, if I work out every day, living out like Mrs. Rules off her rocker. She keeps saying this nonsense. Okay? So it's a fragment. When we put these words at the beginning or in these sentences, it causes that part to be a fragment. Okay? Because it doesn't make complete sense on its own. Okay, let's look at number 2. I worked out for 2 months. I passed the physical fitness test. Now, how can I do this sentence by using one of these words? Cameron, what do you think?
Wait, can I use the top one too?
Although?
No, on number 2, I worked out for 2 months. Can I use that sentence or no?
You have to. You're joining those two.
Since I worked out for 2 months, never mind.
No, Cameron, you're right. Be confident. You're on the right track there.
I worked out for 2 months. I passed the physical fitness test.
Yep. Since I worked out for 2 months, I passed the physical fitness test. Or, what's the other word you could use other than since?
If.
Well, not if, because it says I passed it. I'm not saying I could pass it. It says I passed it. So what's the other word we could have used? Because. So you could either use because or since. Because I worked out for 2 months, I passed the physical fitness test. Or, since I worked out for 2 months, I passed the physical fitness test. And you're saying because I did this, this is what happened. Because I did this, this is what I accomplished. Okay? Make sure you put a comma after the word months. We are joining this fragment to the rest of the sentence by using a comma. How come we're not all writing? Because I worked out for 2 months, I passed the physical fitness test. Tony, do you have a question? Yes. Because here the two sentences are, I worked out for 2 months. I passed the physical fitness test. Well, why did I pass the physical fitness test? I passed it because I worked out for 2 months. If I hadn't worked out for 2 months, I might not have passed the physical fitness test, right? So that's why we're using this word because or since. Because I did this, this is what happened. Does it make sense? Okay, good. Let's look at number 3 now. I worked out for 2 months, Gavin. I failed the physical fitness test. That would be me. I worked out for 2 months. I failed the physical fitness test. Now, what word would I use to join these two thoughts together? Gavin? Although I worked out for 2 months, I failed the physical fitness test. See how we're using our critical thinking?
Wait, what was it?
You tell me.
Although? Oh, yeah.
Although I worked out for 2 months, I failed the physical fitness test. Here we have this thought. I worked out for 2 months. I failed the physical fitness test. How could I fail the physical fitness test even though I worked out for 2 months? So this is a thought that's going through our head here. Although I worked out for 2 months, I failed the physical fitness test. Make sure you put a comma after the word months. Page 21, Think B is homework. And it's going to be graded. However, I'm going to give you time right now in class to do it. Okay? So you don't have to take it home. But it will be graded for a homework grade tomorrow. So let's read the instructions together. It says some of the following groups of words are sentences. Others are run-ons. Write S before the sentences and RO before the run-on sentences. Okay, so you're reading these sentences. If it's a run-on, if it's 2 sentences joined incorrectly, you're going to write RO in the blank. If it is a sentence, meaning it could be a simple sentence, it could be a compound sentence, but if it's correct, you're going to write S in the blank. Does that make sense? Okay, so you're doing 1 through 7. I'm going to give you about 9 minutes to work on it right now. You probably can finish the whole thing and not have to take it home from homework. Think B is all you're doing. Writing RO run-on and S for sentence. Gianni and Tristan, if you're watching this, please do Think B in your book and then take a picture of it and have your mom or dad or grandma email it to me, okay? My email is brittanyrule.ccs@gmail.com. You can look me up on the My Schoolworks too. It was also on your first paperwork that we handed out at the beginning of the school year, okay? Very important so you can get this homework grade in. Take a picture of it and email it, please. All right, 6th grade, everyone working on Think B. I'm going to come around and let you work on this for a few minutes. Check your work if you have any questions. You have a chance to ask during this time. Gianni will be back in just a minute, and Tristan will be back in just a minute. I'm going to put the seatwork slide on, and we'll be back for spelling and penmanship in a moment. Okay, boys, we are back. Okay, so I want you to go ahead and pull out your penmanship creative writing books, please. You guys are going to be doing test 2 today. It's on page 29 in your book. Turn to page 29. Yes, Karen? Okay. On page 29, you will see here, boys, I'll hold this up. This is what it looks like. Okay, test number 2. It says, on a separate sheet of paper, copy this hymn. Check to see that you have used careful slant and uniform spacing. Now, most of you did pretty good on your test last week. There's a few things that I want to review, okay? Some of you have gotten kind of slack in some of your cursive letters where you are kind of writing them in your own style. And I know as we get older and we get out of school, we kind of adapt our own little style. And that's okay. But for school to be graded on, we have to have the correct form, okay? So, for example, one thing that I saw with our S's is that some of you are kind of doing them like this, okay? So, is that the correct form for our S? So, remember that our little S, we're going to come up to the top, and it kind of forms like a mountain peak, okay? I always stop right there when I'm showing my second graders this because it starts where it kind of looks like a mountain peak. It should be pointed on the top, our S's, okay? It should not be rounded like that. So I'll show you. And then it comes down, and here's where you start curving it. You touch, come back down on that same line, and ta-da! That's my S, okay? So watch your S's. The other thing that I noticed is some of you did have the point, but you were still kind of doing this fun little swirly loop, which is really pretty, but not accurate, not correct, okay? So make sure that when we do our little S's, we're coming up, coming down, touch, and ta-da, okay? Some of you are kind of mixing a little bit of print in with your cursive, so make sure that we are watching our cursive letters. The other letter that I noticed that we're struggling with still a little bit is the little letter F, okay? Remember on our lowercase f, we're going to start at the bottom. We're going to slant up, just like you would do for your L, okay? Your F starts the exact same. Then you're going to come down, loop back towards where your next letter is going to be, connect, and tail. That's your cursive letter F, okay? Remember this, when you have your lines, say this is your line on your notebook paper, and you have the word like of, okay? I see a lot of people still kind of doing their F's like this. Okay, is that correct? Why? Why is this not correct right here? Liviana? Yeah, so when we are connecting, this is the trickiest one when we're connecting from the O because we're connecting it from the top of the O. But we're going to come down, and by the way, we don't go all the way to the top of the line. I always forget that because this is 6th grade, not 2nd grade. But you're going to connect on the bottom line. Do you see the difference? So sometimes when you have a regular word, maybe like the word half, okay? If I have the word half, H to the top of my A, come down, L, F. Okay, this F looks a little different than this F, right? That's okay. The reason why this one looks different is because I'm starting my loop up here, whereas here I'm starting my loop down here, and the only reason is because it's coming off of the O. So when it comes off the O, it's going to look different because you're still going to close up that bottom loop on that bottom line, okay? We don't connect it up here. We connect it on that bottom line. Wherever the bottom line is where you're closing that bottom loop. Make sure that your loop is going this way. I saw some people doing their F's like this. Okay, where their loop is going the wrong direction. Okay, you guys were taking it this way, some of you. Make sure that you're taking your loop towards the next letter of the word you are going to be spelling. Okay, so it's going to come this way. Okay, so don't be confused by those. Remember your capital F. Come down, slant, flag, and cross. Remember your capital T is very similar, but you do a sailboat, okay? So remember the differences on those letters. All right, so go ahead and take out a sheet of paper. Do not rip it out of your binder because I want it to look nice. It's a sheet of notebook paper. Boys at home, you're going to go ahead and do this as well. Take out a sheet of notebook paper. And you are going to copy over test number 2. I want you to do your very best. Make sure you're writing neatly. Make sure you put in the correct punctuation. You're copying it exactly the way it's written in the book. Make sure you also write the author of this hymn, George Bernard. That needs to be at the bottom, and it does need to be in cursive. Okay? Does everyone understand what we're doing? Okay, you may begin. Yes, sir. Shane? Are you already finished? Were you doing it when I was talking? You did it already? Okay. Yeah, I'll come collect it. And then you guys have to sit quietly and look over your spelling words, okay? Thank you. Cameron, see how what I'm talking about here, these S's? That's, I'm going to take points off for every one that you do, and you have some loops in your D's. So I would rewrite that for me, okay? Is that, yep, just write it down here. Because you don't want to lose all those points. You want to get a good grade, right? So just write it down here for me. Boys at home, if you have any questions or you need anything, please type in the comment section so I know how I can help you, okay? Yes, sir, Gavin? Not right now, no. You can go to the restroom when we dismiss for lunch, yes. Today is the 24th. It is on the board. When you finish your cursive test, you may bring it to me and then study for your spelling test tomorrow, okay? If we have time, we'll play a little game. If we don't have time, it's okay, I want you to focus on this cursive test right now. Boys at home, I'm going to go ahead and turn on the Seatwork side. I don't see any questions in the comment box, so just make sure that you have this penmanship test done and then turn it into me Friday, tomorrow, when you turn in your packets of work, okay? Make sure that's turned in. Make sure all of your work for the week is turned in, and make sure you study for your spelling test tomorrow. I'll be on tomorrow. I'll have you writing the words as I dictate, so make sure you're on tomorrow for your spelling test, okay? All right, we'll see you tomorrow.